Hi, I'm Jeanette, and welcome to my channel where I share information on solo trips I've taken and solo trips I'm planning to take to help you think about and plan your own solo travel. When I'm ready to take another trip and I need accommodations, I go through a number of steps to find a place to stay. And now, in putting all of this information together to share with you guys, I didn't realize just how many steps I go through to find a place to stay. But I promise you, it does not take that long to go through all of the steps that I do to find a hotel or a place to stay. Now, the first thing that I do when I'm looking for a place to stay is I go to the loyalty programs that I belong to, whether it's Marriott, Hilton, IHG. I go to those sites and I take a look to see what properties they have in the area where I'm going, because maybe I have enough points and I won't have to pay for a room. I can get a free room using my points. Now, I want to stop here and say, if you are not joining or haven't joined hotel loyalty programs, you should. Not only will you get points when you stay in their different properties, but you get other perks. Maybe check in early, check out late, maybe get a free drink when you check in, maybe get additional points when you check in. It's really good to have those loyalty program memberships. Almost always it's free to join, takes a few minutes to join online oftentimes. There's almost always an app. It's really very easy, and it's something you should do. It's something that can help you save money, which is something I always want to do. And I don't think I've ever met anybody who doesn't want to. So take a look at the hotel loyalty programs and join them. It really can be worth your while. Now, I take a look at those properties, see if there's one or two there that I want to look at, and take a look at those. And maybe it's where I want to be, need to be. I'm done. Got it for points. Now, if I don't find any properties that I can get through any of my loyalty programs, I go to my tried and true favorite, Google, and I will put in something like best hotels in Crete or best hotels near the Grand Canyon. And almost always I will end up on TripAdvisor. And I love TripAdvisor. I go to TripAdvisor, I look at their list of the best, look around there, see if there's anything that piques my interest. And if there is, then I will go to TripAdvisor's section for that particular hotel, and I will look around at the information. But most importantly, I read the reviews. Always, always, always read the reviews and pay particular attention to the bad ones. Look for themes. Are 3 out of the 5 bad ones talking about cleanliness? Are 2 out of the 6 bad ones talking about a horrible time checking in? Are there multiple bad ones talking about the location or the area or safety? Really take a look. Now, read the good ones, of course. Read the good ones, take that in, but really read the bad ones and take a look at the date. If you're reading a review from 6 years ago, things might have changed since then. So try to look at more recent reviews and see what people were saying last week, last month, as far as last year, and look at that. And I also look for replies from the property. Oftentimes, the property will respond to the reviews, and it's always interesting to see how they respond. You kind of can get a little bit of a feel for the environment or the property. So Google and TripAdvisor, I almost always start there. Now, if I find a hotel that I think that I'm really interested in, then I will go to the hotel site, directly to their own site. Oftentimes, I'll be honest, I don't read the reviews on their site because they're going to put up good ones, right? I mean, I might glance at them, but I don't spend too much time there. But I do look around. I look at what they have for pricing. I'll look to see if they have any special pricing, whether it's AAA or military veteran, AARP, anything that I'm entitled to that might save me a little bit of money and get a lower rate. I look to see what they have there on their website. I look at check in, check out. I look at what they say about their location and what's around. How far are they from the airport? How close are they to public transportation? To me, public transportation is really, really important, especially if I'm going to bigger cities out of the United States, outside of the United States. I like taking public transportation. I mean, it's a thrill to get on a double-decker bus in London or go on the underground or ride the train in Paris. It's really a lot of fun, and for me, it adds to the experience, but it also helps me not have to rent a car. That's an additional expense. You got to get the car. You've got to often pay for parking if you can find it. And, it's just so much more relaxing to rely on local transportation. So I want to know how close the property is to that. And I also want to know, do they have a restaurant on site? Do they have an actual desk? Or is it one of the kind of newer places where it's all self check-in? I want to know all of that. I want to gain as much information as I can about that hotel before I book it. Now, if I think that it sounds good and I want to book it, I will look in the vicinity. I will look a few blocks around that hotel at other hotels, and I'll check them out too, just to compare and see what they have to offer that maybe that one didn't, or, just check out what my options are. Quickly, it's, as I said, once you do it more and more, you'll do it rather quickly. I do that. Now, if I'm ready to book, I book it directly with the hotel, and I always, always, always look for refundable rates. I don't like non-refundable rates. Yeah, things happen, and yes, you may have travel insurance, but what if I change my mind? What if I decide on one of those other hotels that I checked out for whatever reason? I want to make sure that I can cancel within a reasonable time before the booking date, of course. But I want to make sure that I can cancel and book something else or change whatever else I have to. I almost never will book a non-refundable rate because you just never know. So I book directly with the hotel. I'm very aware there are third parties out there that you can book through, Trivago, Priceline, those types of things. I tend not to use those. The reason is because if something goes wrong, I prefer to be able to deal directly with the hotel rather than go through a third party, and especially if I'm in another country. Now, I know that often or sometimes through a third party, you can find lower rates for hotels, and I appreciate that. For me, it's just a preference. Now, that's not to say I never use a third party. I had to book an accommodation, a hotel, not too long ago during holiday season, and I didn't plan too well, and I booked kind of late. So it was a lot more money to book directly with the hotel than I found through a third party. And it was a little bit more cumbersome. I had to get a voucher from this third party, and believe you me, as soon as I booked it, I kept calling the hotel to make sure the third party told the hotel that I was coming and I actually had a reservation. And, once all that was in place, I felt better about it. But I prefer not to do that. And yes, I did save a little bit more money, which is why I went through all of that, because I saved a little bit of money going through the third party because I booked late. So I'm not saying never use a third party. It's just my preference. I have used another third party, booking.com. Now I've used booking.com more than once, but I will check to see, is it more expensive to book directly with the accommodation or a little cheaper with booking.com. And I will tend to go with booking.com only if it's refundable. And I have not had an issue with the few times that I have used it, but I haven't used other ones, so I can't tell you exactly what that's like. But I do know, in going to those sites and reading the small print, and quite frankly reading reviews and reading experiences of other people, I just prefer to book direct. And sometimes you can get a cheaper price if you book direct with some hotels, depending on where you are, than with a third party. It just depends. But I feel more comfortable going directly with the hotel. And more often than not, I belong to the hotel's loyalty program. So if I book through a third party, I'm not going to get those perks that I get. I'm not going to get points for my stay. So I like to stick with booking direct, and it has worked for me. And I've usually come out okay. Now, I don't always stay in hotels when I travel, especially if I'm staying a week or longer. I will book through Airbnb. I know a lot of you know what Airbnb is and probably have used it. And I'm learning there's a lot of people who know what it is, but they haven't used it because it's different. They're used to staying at a hotel or booking, with a hotel. I love Airbnbs for extended stay, mostly because I can have a kitchen. Now, I like to cook, so even if I'm on a trip, I don't mind cooking. And there's the added experience of going to a market. And depending on where you are in the world, going to the market is an experience, or can be, and it's a lot of fun. And you get to see how the locals shop and what the locals eat, and mix and mingle with local folks and ask them questions. And it's a lot of fun. Another reason I do it is because I don't want to spend a lot of money, to be honest, every time I travel. I don't eat 3 meals out when I'm at home. I don't want to eat 3 meals out when I'm away. And it's far more expensive. Far more expensive. I don't care where, well, I was going to say I don't care where you are, but if you're in places like Vietnam and some other places, it's definitely not more expensive. But eating out can be expensive when you're traveling, as I think we all know. So I appreciate being able to shop and have food in a kitchen where I can cook it and save some money. And, sometimes you wake up in the morning and you want breakfast. You don't want to have to get up and get dressed just to go out and find something to eat, or eat something cold, or eat something that you throw in a microwave. You want to have some real food, and you want to be comfortable. So it's always so nice to just roll out of bed, make your bacon and eggs or your cereal right there, have it in your pajamas, and enjoy it while watching the locals go by, right? And really enjoy that. And there's the added benefit in an Airbnb of more space to spread out if you're going to be there for an extended period of time. It's just nice and relaxing, and you can unpack and not have to live out of a suitcase in a small space. So I do enjoy Airbnb. Now, I truly do love it, and I think it's a great option. But again, with Airbnb or a hotel, I do my research. So as I'm looking through the available Airbnbs in the area that I want to go to, I look at the same things. How far is it from the airport? What is in that area? What's around it? Shopping, local transportation. I look at all of the same things, and all of that information is there on the Airbnb site or in the app that the owner has put all the descriptions. I look at all the pictures, so I know what I'm walking into. And I know there have been sometimes where people will say The pictures don't really look like what this place is, but there again, read the reviews. Read all those reviews. Airbnb has reviews just like with the hotel on TripAdvisor. Folks who have stayed there, they will be honest. And some people put, yeah, general, it was a great stay. The host is wonderful. It was fabulous. But those bad ones, people will be very explicit. And so read that and heed that and take the time and look through different properties before you select one and try to do the best you can to learn everything about the place and make sure it has what you want. And that's pretty much it. And it sounds like a lot. I'm just thinking about all that I've told you, and go here, go there, look at that, read this. It sounds like a lot, but I promise you, once you do it and do it and do it, you will do it quickly because you know what you're looking for. You know where you're going. You know what information you're looking for. You know what you want, where you want to be, what you want to have. The more you travel, you will go through this process very quickly, and you'll be glad you did. A little research goes a long way. Saves you money, saves you some anxiety, saves you surprise, saves you disappointment, and it really is definitely worth the time rather than just going and grabbing a hotel or asking a friend where they stayed and staying where they stayed, and you get there and it's really not to your liking. And in that line, I want to say one other thing is standards. Be careful when you ask people where they stayed and they tell you someplace was great and then you kind of book it without really looking at it. We're all familiar with the star ratings for hotels, right? 2-star hotel, 3-star hotel, 4-star hotel. And that is a great system to give you an idea of the standard, but that is not a global system. So what's 4-star in the United States is not the same as what is 4-star in another country. 4-star in another country may be 2-star in the United States. So standards may not be the same depending on what country you're going to, but know what you like, understand it, and make sure when you're doing your research, you're looking at that. Just make sure you understand that so again, you're not surprised. Do your own research. Even if you get some recommendations from friends, do your own research and make sure that it's a place you're going to be comfortable in. It's your trip. You want to have fun. You want to have a good time. You want to save money where you can, and you want to be comfortable. So that's pretty much it. That's how I find accommodations without spending all my money or all my time, really. And I usually have a good time. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. Give me a like if it has been helpful and enjoyable. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and come back and I'll share some more travel information with you. Happy traveling!